This is News 25 Daybreak.
Right now on News 25 Daybreak, keeping downtown alive. River City's downtown hopes for a brighter future behind the bright lights of Ford Center. Growing woes, a scandal surrounded by turmoil tears apart one of the country's most prestigious universities. And seeking shelter, the falling temperatures force those living outside inside. Good morning and thank you for joining us bright and early on this Friday on November 11th, 2011, 11/11/11. I'm Jordan Vandenberg. All the day's news and plenty of it is just a moment away, but first let's get a look at your forecast. Meteorologist David Heckard is our top story this morning at 6:01. We begin with a much peaceful morning on the campus of Penn State University. But don't let the peace disguise the turmoil surrounding Penn State, a university ripped apart by scandal. On Thursday, students held a peaceful protest expressing school pride as the state and university officials struggled to play damage control. This morning, state leaders say it's time to turn the attention on what really matters the most, the real victims.
As a state, though, we now need to focus. And we have focused, but we need to refocus where it should be, on the victims. We need to identify these victims of sexual abuse. We need to find them. We need to help them. They are our children.
School officials have decided to keep assistant coach Mike McQuarrie off of the sidelines from this weekend's final home game. Administrators say the assistant coach has received multiple threats against his life. McQuarrie reportedly witnessed Coach Jerry Sandusky performing sex acts on one of the victims 9 years ago. Penn State faces the University of Nebraska this Saturday for its final home game of the season. And here at home, the Tri-State has questions of their own about the reported incidents at Penn State. The biggest one being, how can a possible crime so serious as this go unreported for so long? Holly South says Evansville is a safe haven for sexual abuse victims. The center's executive director says long-term trust and respect for someone can turn something as serious as this into a secret.
Adults learn of another adult's behavior, and that's either someone they respect or someone that they have hesitance to put the spotlight on in a negative way. It certainly can influence the decisions that are made. It can make it very difficult for someone to act on behalf of a child.
If you know of anything like this happening, call the Indiana Child Abuse Hotline. You can find that number on our website, news25.us. The News 25 Crime Tracker this morning, 45-year-old James Graham of Warwick County faces life in prison after pleading guilty to 5 child molestation charges. The Vanderbilt County Prosecutor's Office says each charge is punishable by up to 50 years in prison. But prosecutors agreed to recommend half of that sentence, a 25-year sentence for each count. Authorities arrested Graham after a child younger than 14 reported the abuse at Holly's house. Joshua and Angela Hargett faced charges as well this morning after police say they found several types of drugs in their home on West Michigan. Officers say they also called Child Protective Services to the scene because the couple had children at home in filthy and deplorable conditions. This morning, the children are safe with CPS. Downtown Evansville's future looks brighter than ever this morning thanks to the brand new arena that's drawing in thousands of people. FC Tucker Realtor is one of the 5 realty firms in town that owns several vacant properties on Main Street. This morning, the realtor reports receiving calls from interested tenants on a weekly basis, asking about buildings and office space downtown.
I think very much so. You look at the buildings that were that are occupied down here, and they're all doing well. The restaurants and the nightclubs are doing well. There's a lot of professional buildings down here. So, we get calls weekly about being able to show space not only in this building, but a couple of the other properties that we have in the immediate area.
For the first time in a long time, downtown Evansville came fully alive Wednesday night thanks to the Bob Seger concert. This morning, the Ford Center stands as a symbol of that hope that this scene could soon become the norm. This morning, the River City will officially welcome Ford Center to the Tri-State. Mayor Jonathan Weinzapple will hold an official ribbon-cutting ceremony for the arena this morning at 9. City officials say they chose today, Veterans Day, for this occasion to also recognize area veterans. Everyone is invited to attend. This morning's first real hard freeze this season raises concerns for those spending life out on the street. Area shelters report a full house every night so far this week, and unfortunately, they're not expecting a slowdown anytime soon.
Take overflow. If we have additional people signed up for our emergency night shelter, we will accommodate them.
The United Caring Center opens its doors to everyone during the day, but only men are accepted at night. The center says they're opening a women's shelter Monday to help more people in need. Vectren pledges more than $400,000 to help people pay their energy bills this winter. The company will give about $250,000 to community action agencies and match up to $200,000 in donations for weatherization programs. You can find more information on how you can sign up on our website, news25.us. Owensboro's Parks and Rec Department and the Youth Council need your help this morning to help those in need. This Saturday, the two organizations are hosting a food drive. You can drop off items at one of the two Owensboro Walmarts this Saturday. They will accept donations from 7:30 to 11:30 Saturday morning. This is the 7th year the two organizations have teamed up, and all donated items will go to help offices and churches throughout Davis County. The Evansville Rescue Mission gears up to hand out nearly 1,000 meals for Thanksgiving. Right now, the center says they have enough food to feed a family for 3 or 4 days. Leaders say more than 160 organizations have donated so far to help families who are at or below the poverty line.
Here we're going to have about 600 volunteers, school groups, churches, civic clubs donating their time, having a smile on their face, making them feel comfortable. And this really, our event exemplifies our mission as a whole.
The rescue mission will hand out food baskets on November 23rd. They say it's still not too late to sign up for the meals or make a donation. For information on how to help, go to our website, news25.us. Drivers beware. Starting this morning, Indiana State Police will keep a closer eye on drivers. The annual Click It or Ticket Safe Family Travel campaign begins today. The event is part of an effort to make the upcoming Thanksgiving holiday travel season much safer. Troopers will also be looking for impaired and distracted drivers. Time now is 6:26. The uncertainty surrounding Italy's faltering economy continues to send shockwaves throughout the world markets this morning. Italian leaders have drummed up a sort of Hail Mary idea, placing ads on some of the world's most beloved and recognizable tourist attractions in the world. Potential advertisements would go on attractions like the Roman Colosseum, Leaning Tower of Pisa, and the canals of Venice. To keep Italy afloat, the country will need to borrow $408 billion next year. America's pastime has endured gambling, scandals, steroid area, and player strikes, but never anything quite like this. One of the game's promising young stars is missing this morning, the victim of a kidnapping. Armed men kidnapped Wilson Ramos of the Washington Nationals while he was visiting his mother in Venezuela. Still no sign of him this morning, but police have discovered the getaway car. A rescue operation is underway in China this morning to reach 23 miners trapped following an explosion at an illegally operated mine. The blast in southwest China killed 20 miners, becoming the second deadly coal mine disaster just in the last week. Ventilation machines are now pumping the excessive methane gas from the mine this morning. And new security footage has surfaced this morning of the moment a 5.7 magnitude earthquake struck Turkey, a country still reeling from another larger earthquake a couple weeks ago. The video from the violently shaking cameras shows people running out of their buildings, lights going out, and thick clouds of smoke enveloping the streets. Wednesday's tremor has killed at least 10 people, including a Japanese aid worker. Coming up on Daybreak, rest in pieces. Vandals hit the hallowed ground of a tri-state cemetery. The scandal surrounding Penn State now comes in the crosshairs of officials at the state and federal level. We have the latest from Happy Valley coming up. Those stories plus the latest from the First Warning Doppler Weather Center. All of this just moments away when News 25 Daybreak comes right back. Right now on News 25 Daybreak, the silent victims. The Penn State community turns their attention on those hurt the most. We have the latest next. Happy homecoming. The Hoosier State welcomes back those serving our country. And happy 11-11-11. It's a very special day for this Indianapolis girl. Good morning and happy Friday and happy 11-11-11 and happy Veterans Day to you. I'm Jordan Vandenberg. We'll have more of those stories about a couple minutes, but first let's get a look at our forecast as you get ready to step out the door this morning. Meteorologist David Heckard has been tuning over your forecast, and David, one word and one word only, it's cold. New on Daybreak at 6:32, the child sex abuse scandal at Penn State University has consumed the college town of State College, Pennsylvania. But now the alleged abuse has grabbed the attention of the top levels of government. Later today, the university's Board of Trustees will appoint a special committee to investigate. And for the first time in an ABC News exclusive, the mother of an alleged victim shares her son's story. ABC's Tamon Bradley has the latest on the college scandal turned national outrage.
Tamon Bradley, ABC News.
Back here at home at 6:34, Evansville police are looking for the person who set a home on fire Wednesday. Investigators determined the fire was the result of arson. Officials say the house was vacant and someone was trying to steal copper wire. The fire also damaged 2 nearby homes. New information this morning on the Davis County inmate who died Wednesday. The Vanderbilt County Coroner's Office says 55-year-old Dean Stevens died of natural causes. State police say Stevens was not feeling well Wednesday morning. He later died after being transferred to St. Mary's in Evansville. A Jasper cemetery features hundreds of headstones reading "Rest in Peace." But this morning, several of those headstones now rest in pieces. This is St. Joseph's Cemetery in Jasper. Vandals knocked over dozens of headstones, even smashed some of them into pieces. Ed Eckert has 3 generations of his family buried here. Earlier this week, he found the unthinkable. His great-great-grandfather's headstone cracked in pieces.
We're all very saddened over people would be that hateful and honoring to do something like that. It's a shame. It's just a shame, and I hope the police could be able to find out who it is.
Police continue to search for the suspects this morning. The groundskeeper says police are also stepping up their patrols at night. Tracking the economy this morning, good news for Toyota employees here in the Hoosier State. Toyota's recent recall of nearly 500,000 vehicles will not affect production at the Gibson County plant. The company says while the Princeton plant does make the Sienna minivans, the recalls are handled by dealerships, not by the manufacturers. Also, the Highlander SUV included in this massive recall is not made locally. Toyota's recalling more than 400,000 cars sold in the U.S. because of power steering issues. Expect to spend a little more to give thanks this year. A report from the American Farm Bureau Federation shows a typical Thanksgiving meal will cost about 13% more. The price of a 16-pound turkey is also up 4% to around $21. On average, it will cost about $5 to feed one person this Thanksgiving. This morning, more than 100 military families are waking up in the arms of their loved ones this morning. Members of the 219th Battlefield Surveillance Brigade returned home Thursday after deploying to Iraq back in March. Soldiers say they're proud of their mission, but oh so glad to be back.
At first I was a little nervous and a little emotional, but it's just wonderful to have the kids around me, and my wife, the support she's given me has been amazing.
Oh, it's wonderful to have them home. So it's been a long anticipated wait, and we got here really early in the morning. The kids have been great with it all, and it was just a joy to see them come up and run to us.
The Johnson County Base Brigade now goes to Camp Atterbury for demobilization for the next 5 days. Thanks to a grant, a local rehab center looks to cross the digital divide. The Medical Alliance awarded Easter Seals with a $1,200 grant. Teachers say the money will go toward purchasing iPads for their classrooms. They say it will be a fun way to bring in new technology.
A wide range of children with autism, with hearing loss, with different special needs, and we think these will really help them learn new skills.
A computer specialist will help them pick out these new iPads, and the organization hopes to begin buying them next week. Easter Seals helps serve children and adults with disabilities. Built more than 2 years ago, an Evansville subdivision created for tornado victims still needs city services. The Habitat for Humanity built the New Haven neighborhood more than 2 years ago, but still hasn't turned it over to the city. Officials say delay after delay after delay has caused the holdup.
It's just kind of natural for a project of this size to take a long time. And 2, we are a nonprofit charity, and we depend heavily on donations of time and talent.
Engineers are finalizing the drawings right now and will present them to city engineers next week. Once the city engineers approve this project, it will then go to the Board of Public Works for final approval. The entire process could take until the end of the year. In honor of Veterans Day, Mesker Park Zoo will offer a special deal. All veterans and active military personnel can enter the zoo for free when accompanied by a paying customer. All you have to do is show a valid form of military ID upon entry. Mesker Park Zoo and Botanic Garden is open from 9 in the morning till 4 in the afternoon. Winter admission rates are $6.50 for adults and $5.50 for children between the ages of 3 and 12. Vanderbilt County residents also receive a $1 resident. In addition to Veterans Day, the calendar also brings a certain amount of novelty to today. It's November 11th, 2011, or 11-11-11. This Perry Township girl is one-upping today's date. She's turning 11. That's right. 5th grader Lindsay Coiro turns 11 years old on November 11th, 2011. Lindsay thinks the coincidence is pretty cool.
How big a deal is that to turn 11 on 11 11/11?
Really exciting.
Why?
Because it only comes once in a lifetime and it's really fun.
When you take a look at fifth grade population, turning 11 on this date isn't remarkably shocking, but statisticians say when you take into account the world's population in all of their ages, that's what makes today so special, because most people will never celebrate their golden birthdays on their so-called golden year. Coming up on Daybreak, a stage for change. Indiana State Fair officials unveil their new plans for the year after the tragic stage collapse. Welcome back to Daybreak. Your time now is 6:48. Major changes in the works for next year's Indiana State Fair following the tragic State Fair collapse this year. All major concerts next year will be held at Conseco Fieldhouse and not the grandstands at the fairgrounds. State Fair organizers didn't want next year's fairgoers to feel like there was a dark cloud hanging overhead and feel a sense of panic. The stage collapse back in August killed 7 people. More violence surrounding the Occupy Wall Street movement this morning. One person is dead after gunshots rang out near the Occupy Oakland camp. A spokesperson for the Occupy Oakland movement says the victim may have been hiding out from a person or group inside the camp. While attempting to cover the shooting, a television photographer was also assaulted. The Occupy movement has spread to Harvard. Authorities are carding Harvard professors as the university tries to restrict access to the Harvard yard. The Occupy movement set up camp in the yard this week. Several dozen students slept in these tents rather than their dorms. Although in the top 1% academically, demonstrators say they are not in the top 1% economically. New York police are investigating a group of suspected cheating on college admission exams like the SAT. The district attorney's office has expanded the investigation to at least 35 students in 5 schools across Long Island. Officials believe the students involved paid a stand-in to take their SAT and ACT exams. Residents in one Alabama county could wind up paying sky-high public service rates after their county filed for Chapter 9 bankruptcy. Jefferson County filed the largest municipal bankruptcy in American history Wednesday. The full impact of their decision will not be clear until a judge approves the bankruptcy next month. But what is known, Jefferson County owes billions of dollars. Welcome back to Daybreak. Your time now is 6:52. Here's a look at the stories making headlines this morning. A scandal, turmoil, and heartbreak. One of the country's most prestigious universities remains torn apart. We have the latest straight ahead. In River City's downtown hopes for a brighter future behind the bright lights of Ford Center. And as the temperatures drop, tri-state shelters see rising demand. We'll have more on those stories in about 4 minutes. But first, let's get a look at our forecast on this 11/11/11 this Friday, this Veterans Day. There's a lot going on today. Welcome back to Daybreak. Your time now is 6:57. Penn State University campus looks much more peaceful this morning, but don't let the peace disguise the turmoil surrounding Penn State. The university is ripped apart by scandal. On Thursday, students held a peaceful protest expressing school pride as both the state and university officials struggled to play damage control. Right now, school officials have decided to keep assistant coach Mike McQuarrie off of the sidelines from this weekend's final home game. Administrators say the assistant coach has received multiple threats against his life. McQuarrie reportedly witnessed coach Jerry Sandusky performing sex acts on one of the victims 9 years ago. Penn State faces the University of Nebraska this Saturday for their final home game of the season. Downtown Evansville's future looks brighter than ever this morning thanks to the brand new arena that's drawing in thousands of people. FC Tucker Realtor is one of the 5 realty firms in town that owns several vacant properties on Main Street. This morning, the realtor reports receiving calls from interested tenants on a weekly basis asking about buildings and office space downtown. For the first time in a long time, downtown Evansville came fully alive Wednesday thanks to the Bob Seger concert. This morning, the Ford Center stands as a symbol of that hope that this scene could soon become the norm. This morning, the River City will officially welcome Ford Center to the Tri-State. Mayor Jonathan Weinzappel will hold an official ribbon-cutting ceremony for the arena this morning at 9. City officials say they chose today, Veterans Day, for the occasion to also recognize area veterans. Everyone is invited to attend. This morning's first real hard freeze of the season raises concerns for those spending life out on the street. Area shelters report a full house every night so far this week, and unfortunately they're not expecting a slowdown anytime soon. The United Caring Center opens its doors to everyone during the day, but only men are accepted at night. The center says they're opening a women's shelter Monday to help more people in need.
Temperatures outside, very chilly out there. We're seeing numbers into the 20s at this hour. Freeze warning remains in effect until 8 a.m. Good deal of sunshine expected. A few mid to high level clouds. Temperatures making it into the lower and mid 50s. A lot of people eyeing Saturday morning, the start of deer season in both Indiana and Kentucky. Looking really good out there. And our director, Dave Williams, was very nervous because you're going deer hunting tomorrow morning. He's getting very, very nervous that you didn't have proper gear. So this is some of the stuff you should wear. That's what he told me. So it's very, very warm, and you're going to need that temperatures tomorrow morning around 40 degrees.
Is it TV appropriate, though?
That's a good question. We'll check the air tape later today.
Okay. All right. We'll see you here Monday morning. Have a great weekend.